Hi, it's Cassie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and blog. Today I'm so excited to be a part of the 9th annual 25 Days of Christmas Tags. And this year there are 26 sponsors. And today Heffy Doodle is sponsoring. So I'm going to have a link down below in the description box to my blog. And I'll also have a link to Tracy's blog where you can get all the details and you can hop along because there are prizes. Okay, so let's take a look at all the products that I plan on using today for my tags. I'm going to be using this adorable Mewniverse along with the matching die. I'm also going to be using the hat and the sentiments from this cool set called Wanna Build a Snowman, and it also has a matching die, so we are going to use the hat die from that. I thought it would be kind of fun to use a set that isn't necessarily Christmas and then combine it with a Christmas set to get something a little more. We're going to use this first snow stencil along with these two stitched circle and stitched square dies. And lastly, we'll be using the Simply Teal-icious cardstock from Heffy Doodle as well to make our bases. So, alright, let's get going. My plan was to make 3 tags, so I am going to run that stitched circle die through my die cutting machine 3 times, and then I'm going to run the stitched square through 6 times. And I love how this stitched square and the circle give this, negative and positive. So you could use either element, and I love that. It gives your dies even that much more longevity, in my opinion. All right, so per bobble, I am going to cut out 2 of those squares so you can have a front and a back, and that way the front, or the back looks finished as well. So now here's another thing you can do. I want to make a snowbank, so I ran this through some white cardstock. And so I have that circle, and I'm going to run it through just to cut out a part of that. So there's some of the stitching on the bottom and on the top to give this scene a little bit of cohesion. So I'll run it through on the other side as well, so I can get 2 snowbanks out of one of those circles. So then I will run it through one more time so that I can get another snowbank. And that's how that's going to look. Before I start adhering that, I'm going to grab out the first snow stencil. I'm going to stick that on top, and then I'm going to use one of my mini ink blending tools along with some Simon Says Stamp Pigment White, and I'm just going to pounce that through the little holes so that I can get some snowfall. So I'll do that for all 3 of those. I think that's so fun. You could do splatter if you don't have this stencil. That would be really fun too, but I love the polished look of this as well. Of course, I love the look of splatter, so you really can't go wrong. And then I'll set that off to the side to dry. Now I'm going to stamp my kitties. So I'll stick that in there in my Mini Misty and I'm going to stamp it using some Memento Tuxedo black ink onto some Express It cardstock. Those are my favorite for alcohol marker coloring. And I'm going to stamp it 3 times because, as I said, I'm going to make 3 tags. So we've just turned our paper and we're stamping that. And then to make it easy on myself, I'm just going to use a block for the hat. So this little top hat will be stamped 3 times, and it worked out perfect, this little scrap of paper. Now we'll do our coloring. And it seems like, well, it seems like it because it's true. All I do is color cats to look like a Siamese because that's the kind of cats that we typically have. So one of these days I'll venture out and I will color them a little bit differently, but because these tags are most likely going to family members, I figured I would color it like my kitty. And so I start off with E81, that's my lightest tone, and then my darker, my mid-tone will be E84. These are my favorite colors to color Siamese cats. And then we'll do the same thing on all 3 of those cats, because obviously I'm going to make them all look the same. My darkest color is going to be some E87, and I'm pretty sparing with that because it is pretty dark. Depending on how dark you want your Siamese or your cat, you could, go a little bit crazier with the color, but I just did not in this case. And then I like to, obviously you can tell I start from lightest and I go to darkest. I know other people do it, the opposite. They go darkest to lightest, but I get a better blend for myself this way. And so then I go back. So I start with light, mid-tone, dark, and then I go back to mid-tone, and then I go back to the lightest color, and then I can get the blend that I am looking for. For his little nose, I don't put it up on the screen, but I am going to use RV11, And then for the top hat, I did choose 3 colors. Really because, I mean, this is such a small image, you could very easily do only 2 if you wanted, but I really wanted this hat to look very like silky. I wanted it to be a silk top hat. So my first color was C4, my mid-tone is C6, and then my darkest is going to be C8. And if you notice with the C8, I don't go all the way to the edge. This is going to fool the eye into thinking that it is a rounded image. And so then I'll go back over with my mid-tone to lighten that up just a little bit. And then I'll come back in with my lightest color to blend it out even more. And then this is going to give that really shiny look of like a silk top hat. For the band, I'm using R32, which is more of a pink obviously, but I want there to be some shading in that as well. And then I'm going to use R24 as my darker color. And then I'll blend that out once again with the R32. And then we're going to get ready to do some die cutting. So I'll pull out the matching dies, and then I'm going to tack those down just using a little bit of washi tape. Purple tape would work fine too, or micropore tape, any sort of low tack tape. And I tend not to go over the images. I try to like to stick that tape on the side. And now we're ready to start adhering the pieces. So I'm going to use some liquid glue. This is the Tombow Mono Multi Glue. And I'll stick down my snowbanks. And I apologize, I'm obviously very zoomed in. I'll fix that here in a second. Sometimes I'm just in the zone and I'm not paying attention to what the camera's doing. So we get all that down, and then we start stamping our sentiments, which comes from that Wanna Build a Snowman Stampin' Die. And it's cool because this die actually has little matching dies that you could cut out those words to if you wanted to. To stamp them, I did use some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink because that ink stamps very well over a pigment ink. So I've put down my first little square and I put it upside down, put the glue on, stuck my bobble on top of that, put a little more glue onto my bobble, and now I am sticking down the front piece. So this is going to give it a finished look front and back. Put a little glue on my kitty, and then I'll put some on his top hat as well. And I'll do that for all 3 of those. Next, it's time to start punching holes in these. So I've grabbed a 1/8 inch hole pin punch. Oh my goodness, I can't talk. And I'm just going to put that through the center of those squares. You could have very easily left this step out and just attach these tags as is, but I wanted these tags to also potentially be used as ornaments after they're done being used. So it's like 2 gifts in one. So I'll show you slow-mo what I do. I like to double it up, stick it through the back, and then stick that through that center hole and pull, and that attaches the string very nicely to my tag. And then I just do a knot right on top, and that finishes it off. And I do that for all 3. For a final bit of embellishment, I am going to pull out some Nuvo White Blizzard drops. So these will just give like, it's like a clear glitter. So it's nice because it'll just add like a little bit of snow. I do that on the edges and on the top hat. And there you go. All 3 of my tags are all finished, and I love these. So if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And be sure to head to my blog and head to Tracy's blog to get all the information, because you can join in and make some tags as well. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by.